Matthew recorded an event that took place a couple of years after the birth of Jesus that over the centuries has become a part of our Christmas tradition. These are the words of Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. And Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of King Herod. Wise men from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star rising in the east, and we have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was deeply disturbed, and all of Jerusalem with him. So he assembled all the chief priests and scribes of the people and asked them, "Where is the Messiah to be born?" "In Bethlehem of Judea," they told him, "because this is what is written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. Because out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly summoned the wise men and asked them the exact time the star appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go, search carefully for the child. When you find him, report back to me so that I too can go and worship him." After hearing the king, they went on their way, and there it was, the star they had seen at its rising. It led them until it came and stopped above the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overwhelmed with joy. Entering the house, they saw the child with his mother, Mary. Falling to their knees, they worshiped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their own country by another route. As I said, this story historically takes place about 2 years after the birth of Christ. And so Jesus is at this point basically a toddler. He's basically just learned to walk. And they have seen a complete change. Something had happened in the cosmos. Something had happened in the world that indicated a significant change of events, a significant turn in the history of the world. And they began looking and searching to understand. Basic concepts were a part of their search and their looking. They understood that this was significant. They understood and even went to leaders who could give clarity. Who is this? The question comes up in Herod's court. Where is the King of the Jews to be born? Why, in Bethlehem. Key to this story is their willingness, their intent to continue seeking and searching. And I want to walk through those parts of this story for just a few moments this morning and cause us, to give us the opportunity, to give myself the opportunity to pause and to wait and to think and to contemplate. What does it mean to meet the Jesus of Christmas? What does it mean to receive the King? What does it mean to look at the events and the actions of Christmas and make that a part of my faith and my journey today? In verse 9, it says that after hearing the king, they went on their way. They were seeking, they were looking, they were wandering, trekking, watching, inquiring. And I just want to say that in this Christmas season, it's okay. It's safe to seek. It's important to seek. It's actually significant in our faith journey to seek, to look, to follow, in a sense, the inclinations. Here is something that is different. Here is something that happens and it catches my attention. Here is that moment and that opportunity. But will I pause enough? Will I stop momentarily and actually seek, actually inquire to understand? They went. They saw the star as they had seen it in the rising, and they continued their journey, and it led them until it came and stopped at the very place where the child was. I call it inclinations because oftentimes God speaks to us in subtle ways. You have possibly had this experience, maybe with your own children, maybe with your nieces and nephews, maybe somebody, I mean, sometimes even with a strange child, just in a, not that children are strange, but somebody you don't know. And those toddler moments where they reach up and they kind of pull on your pant leg and tug it just a little bit. Notice me, see me, recognize me. I mean, a lot of times it's soft, it's gentle, it's somewhat nondescript. And we pause, we feel it, and we look, and then we just simply see that it's a child and we blow it off. Now, not all children are that way. Some will actually throw themselves on the ground, roll around, be demonic, and scream at the top of their lungs. They're a little more assertive, a little more aggressive. This child, Jesus, the Son of God, came softly into the world in the midst of chaos. I did as I normally do first thing this morning, opened up to see what the verse of the day was. It was part of Mary's praise, just recognizing the blessing that God had given her as the mother of the Son of God coming into this world to redeem us. And it was interesting because the verse of the day on YouVersion, our church uses YouVersion for its Bible app. And on YouVersion, there's always, every day with the verse of the day, there's always a video. I watch it almost daily, either typically first thing in the morning or the very last thing before I go to bed. And today it was Levant Ministries out of Israel, and the leader and founder of Levant Ministries, who was born and grew up in Bethlehem. And what struck me was he said, oftentimes in Western civilization, in our Christmas portrayal of these moments, we picture all of the events of the birth of Christ as these kind of quiet, hushed tones, pleasantry. He said, having grown up in Bethlehem, he could tell us that it was anything but pleasant and anything but quiet. At the first of the century, at the turning from BC into AD, at that point in history, Bethlehem was absolute chaos. It was under an oppressive government as the Romans had invaded and taken control of that land, and nobody was happy. Mary is a teenager, as you probably have often heard, maybe heard this year in our Bible studies. She is a teenager who technically is pregnant out of wedlock, whose husband, fiance, had to make the decision to stand by her in spite of the unknown pregnancy. In addition, Bethlehem itself, while being a rural town, was a center of much commerce and different activities, and he described it as a dark, busy, chaotic city. And yet, that was the place that God chose to reveal himself in the greatest form of frailty and vulnerability, as an infant. Honestly, that's difficult to grasp. No matter how many years you've been a Christian, no matter how much background you have in the Christian faith, the concept, the grasping of this reality that Almighty God, who has always existed, who exists now and will always exist, chose this vulnerable form of an infant. It's hard to grasp that the one who created the very existence of mankind brought it into place and is responsible for creating each and every one of us in our mother's womb before anyone, including our mother, even knew us, chose to come into this world by that same honestly painful, difficult process. The imminence of eternity becomes a vulnerable, frail child for one singular purpose: to know us, to be with us. And not us in a global perspective, not us in an all of history perspective, but us individually, me, you. He wanted our attention. And now this little toddler is about to receive the imminent guests from the Far East who have no background that would lead them to faith. They are not Jewish, so they are not of the belief or the ideas or concepts of the Messiah. But yet something has happened that most people haven't noticed. And they see it, and they're seeking, and they're looking, and they're asking, and they're inquiring. And they have to follow their inclinations. Those gentle moments where you hear, where you feel, where you sense the quiet tug of God on our hearts. Notice me. Pay attention to me. Hear me. I want your attention. I want to be with you. And I want to challenge us to actually this Christmas be able to pause and see those moments and embrace those moments, to actually notice the invitation to participate with and know God. In verse 10 it says, when they saw the star, they were overwhelmed with joy. They actually visibly saw this change. They actually visibly saw the invitation. But how many would actually have noticed? How many other individuals had walked outside in the darkness of the night and looked up and recognized that there is a star that is in the wrong location? There's a star that I haven't ever noticed before. Is it like us? Recently, Erica and I had the opportunity to be up at the ranch, and I had finished up late getting some stuff done, was just standing out in the yard. My best friend came out, and he said to me, it's just amazing up here to see the stars. Because up there, in the darkness, seeing the stars is not a difficult thing. I mean, it's dark enough, you can see the whole multitude of them, and it is inspiring. It is impressive. But here, when was the last time you looked at the stars? Would we have even noticed that God sent an invitation in a star that was slightly different, slightly moving? I thought about that night because it's dark enough I can look up at the stars and you can actually see planes and satellites as well. Yet they noticed. What invitation is God extending to us this Christmas, that out of our seeking, out of our inquiry, out of our questions, he legitimately, openly, honestly, authentically invites us in and says, look, I just want to know you. I came just for the singular purpose of knowing you. And you have seen and you've heard. Now follow the inclinations, and you have seen and heard. So now notice the invitation, because it's so easy to pass it by. And God isn't the child who throws a fit and rolls around on the floor. He is the gentle one who tugs at our pants legs, ultimately our hearts. Notice, see that invitation. And then when we see the invitation and we embrace the invitation, we have this amazing encounter. In verse 11, the story takes on another fascinating turn. It says that entering the house, they saw the child. They had seen the star, and the star stopped. And while they were following the star, while they received the invitation, they were overwhelmed with joy and amazement to be a part of this event. But now they cross the threshold into the house and they see the child. They see the child there with his mother Mary, it says in verse 11, and falling to their knees, they worshiped him. They acknowledged their praise, their worship. I don't know the words. I don't know all the traditions of the Far East in the first century, but they recognized this moment was more than just another birth. This This moment was more than just another family starting another generation. This moment was more than what they could see. This moment was more than this child. This moment was more than this lady. You know, one of my favorite Christmas songs is Mary, Did You Know? Many of you have heard it. It's actually only a couple of decades old. I actually had the privilege of meeting the author. Jim is a former worship pastor of ours here in our church, and one year he and I were at a convention, and that was the guest speaker at a luncheon we were at, and Jim knew him, and Jim took me up and gave me the actual opportunity to meet the author of those lyrics, the writer of that great song, and the concepts of that song that recognize the just difficult aspect of what it is to grasp that God has become a child. Did you know that when you kiss the forehead of your child, you were kissing the creator of the universe? I don't know how they knew. I don't know what they actually knew, but I know that the moment challenged them and moved them to a place of intimacy, moved them to a place of inspiration where in the encounter, they just wanted to worship. And this is honestly relatively private. This is the point in a message like this where there is a tendency for every pastor to highlight the opportunities you have to worship with us. This is the moment where a lot of pastors want to kind of go off the rails and make announcements. You're here today. Obviously, you're with us on live stream. We have one more Christmas service ahead. We have Christmas Eve, 4 o'clock. We're going to be here. See, I'm susceptible to those temptations as well. Let me actually say this. Let me actually just give into the temptation and then just embrace it fully for just a moment. If you're coming Christmas Eve to be with us, we've made the decision, right or wrong, to try to have everybody together this one Christmas. So Christmas Eve for us has the significant probability of being like Bethlehem in the first century. Very chaotic, potentially a little bit difficult. I know my own family is meeting and attempting to come in one vehicle instead of the typical 5 that we bring on Sunday. We have secured parking across the street. JDM Accounting is giving us their parking lots, and we've encouraged all of our leaders and all of our volunteers to park across the street and make the walk over. It's not going to rain Christmas Eve. It's going to be hot. This is Southeast Houston. I think we're looking at about 80 degrees that night, so it's not going to be a frigid. It's not going to be a walk in the snow. Sorry about that. I don't have any control over it, but we do have parking over there. Alamo Title next door. We'll secure that possibly late Tuesday if they don't have a closing on Wednesday night. We're allowed to park in their parking lots. We're asking everybody in any kind of vehicle that has more than 3 inches of clearance, so whatever yours is, park in the grass. There's access to the grass just down the parking lot that goes south of our parking lot. Then you can access the grass, and you can park all in the grass everywhere you want because parking is going to be at a premium. Seating is going to be at a premium Wednesday night, so you're more than welcome. There will be seats on the platform. If all your life you thought, I wonder what it's like to sing in choir. I don't have Josh's permission to do this, but I'm going to tell you, if there's empty seats up here, you're welcome to sit on the platform and release your seat. I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually sit on the platform Christmas Eve and release my seat as well, so that we can all fit in here one Christmas together. But that's not the point of the message. I'm actually not inviting you to church. I'm inviting you to see God in his most authentic and vulnerable moment and worship him. Thank him. Because the only reason Jesus came was because he wants to know you. He wanted to know me. Yes, the event is an event filled full of tradition, and it is an event that is over 2 millenniums old, but it is the same story and it is the same reality. He wants to know us. Encounter him. Embrace the inspiration of the moment. Embrace the intimacy of the moment. Embrace his love. And then in the last part of verse 11, it says, in that moment, then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. What could we possibly offer him? In comparison to the reality of who he is as majestic, all-powerful, all-knowing creator and God over all things, the ultimate authority on all things, what could I possibly give him? This is where the drummer boy gets it right. I have no gift to bring, so I'll play my drum for you. I don't have a gift to bring. I don't have gold. I don't have frankincense. I don't have myrrh. But I have the opportunity to open and give him my heart. And yes, we have those opportunities to give gifts as well. But if he wants to know me, if he's created the invitation and he's created this moment, and I hear and I notice that he's actually asking to know me and be with me and live in relationship with me, then in this moment, can I encounter him and embrace that relationship? And can I present to him all I have to present, which is myself? I think the Apostle Paul understood it. He challenged the church at Rome to give our bodies, to give our lives as an act of worship. Letting him work in us and change us in the ways that embrace that relationship with him. So the gift I have to give this Christmas is myself. He created me. He established me. He's provided the opportunity for forgiveness and a relationship with him. And so I accept the invitation. And I give myself to him. And yes, I did that at a very significant turning point when I was younger. Now, this Christmas, I do it one more time. This Christmas, Lord, this next year, here I am. I'm yours. This is my gift. All I have, I give to you.